of OK Club kind of emphasizes that there was that need for that to be put back in terms of the school curriculum. Reason behind it is, as you can tell from the UNEP, is that this is the year of, this is the decade of action. So there's that emphasis that for us to be able to maintain 1.5 degrees Celsius and below, so for humanity to continue surviving, there's need for us to be able to regenerate how Earth was initially before industrialization kicked in.
Okay.
So there's that need for decarbonization. There's that need of less fossil fuel. There's that need for us to plant trees. Trees, you know, we take it for granted that our oxygen comes from trees.
And I want us to come deeper into why then we have to take care of the environment. But I like that you have put it that it is very important that we have discussions on World Environment Day. And also I'll be asking, you know, you shortly on what then is expected of people on days like this. Now, you've mentioned the reasons and things that people ought to do, but I want to now talk to our other guests, if that's possible, to just hear then what World Environment means to him.
Thank you once again. World Environment Day is very, very important. It's a day that's marked globally and just meant to highlight the importance of conserving our environment.
Okay.
You realize that a lot of things have changed over the years. So many years ago, we used to have like about 75% forest cover. This has reduced so much, and we are now talking about just a mere 10% forest cover. We're talking about something called circular economy, right from production to consumption to disposal of waste. And I like the theme of this year, World Environment Day, only one Earth.
Yes.
You have only, like you have only one heart, or like you have just one meal left.
True.
How do you treat just that last meal? You will really try to preserve it so that it can last you for long. We all agree that we need food, for example, and at the same time we need resources to run our economy.
Absolutely.
But now how are we managing these resources? How are we producing our food, for example? Are we doing it in a sustainable way? So that, to me, the fact that we are given an opportunity or a platform to highlight all these environmental issues is really what is important to me. Yeah.
Amazing. And we want to now look at why is it time for action, like you have said. And we're looking at the host country, this time being Sweden. I'm very curious on why it is Sweden. But let's talk about the damage that is being experienced. Mr. Felix, you started us off on why these conversations are important. Already we're feeling so much damage in the air, in the water bodies. Please bring us up to speed on the damage currently, vividly being experienced.
At the moment, we have our oceans kind of filled up with plastic. It's suffocating the whole ecosystem. We have poisonous fertilizer in the soil. These are things that affect our health. As I said, it's a moment to sit back and reflect, have we gained anything over the years? Are we learning something? Are we doing enough to take care of our own environment? Because it's all about our survival.
Yes.
It's not about anything else but our own survival. They say, us, man, we are our own worst enemy. So unless we reverse the damage that has been done so far, basically we are suffocating ourselves. We are killing ourselves. So Kenya is leading on this narrative, which is the good story.
Okay.
We started with banning of the plastics. That is the plastic bags. Now we've gone to using of plastics being burnt at the parks. Reason behind it is because animals don't know they're plastics. So they do consume. They do think it's food. It does suffocate some. So our whole ecosystem is being destroyed by us not being conscious of that. So Kenya leading in that narrative is quite encouraging for us.
Okay.
Now, what needs to be done is that as citizens, we need to be more sensitized on our own personal habits that can support what the government is trying to structure up for us to be able to regenerate our own environment. So as I said initially, the government has been on top of it. We even His Excellency being made the chairperson for the Committee of African Heads in the Climate Action. So that shows that we are being recognized as people who pretty much do take care of the environment. They do care about it. The government is on top of it. Now it's up to us as citizens to know what we need to do on a daily basis. As you asked the DJ, how many trees have you planted?
Yes.
You see, this is the tricky part of it. It takes about 40 to 60 years or 50 years for a tree to be able to absorb at least, we're looking at 46 kilograms.
Okay.
Okay? And then a human being produces, sorry, it's the other way around, about 21 kilograms of CO2, I'm sorry.
All right.
But a human produces about 46 in a month. So which means whatever oxygen we are taking in is because of a tree that was planted by somebody years ago that we don't know about. Now, if we don't plant a tree, what we are doing is that the future generation is going to suffer. Posterity, we are affecting it. So it's up to us just to pass down the gift of life just by planting a tree. And it doesn't take much. We all eat fruits. So whatever fruit does have a seed, right?
Yes.
So you just take the seed, you dry it up, and just plant it anywhere, anywhere.
You know, I want to appreciate that Felix has decided to take us to the positives of what we ought to do, unlike the damage that has been done. Yeah, so I don't know if we should continue with the positives, or we should actually create a picture of what damage has been done. You want to add on that and share if there are any damages that people don't even realize have already been done?
I think there's a lot of damage that has been done, and I want to probably highlight maybe three areas.
Yes.
Maybe of
Key
focus.
areas.
Key area.
Yes.
Number one, this what we call air pollution.
True.
This is a serious environment problem, and all of us has really contributed to this. But how? You realize that we have a lot of cars now, which contribute to pollution of environment through smokes, of course. We have in-house pollution. People are using firewood, people are using stoves to cook. That pollutes the air that we breathe. Now, in as far as air pollution is concerned, the solution is just with us.
Okay.
Just very basic things, because if we don't take care of our environment in terms of air pollution, we'll end up suffocating in our cities.
We only have one Earth.
Exactly. And the simple steps would just be walk to work, for example. Avoid using your car. I know this is very difficult for many of us, but you can easily walk to work. I do. If you have a bicycle, you can choose to use your bike instead of driving. Or use public transport
to
reduce.
Let's ask the viewers to just engage with us on the social media. We have had this conversation before. I mean, the governor then tried, Hussein Bouvi, now former governor. Kenyans, are you ready and willing rather to, number one, opt to walk to work or cycle to work? As you continue, sir, let's hear what they get to say with time. You were saying?
Yeah. Then the next thing I would really love to talk about is food.
Okay.
Food waste. Looks simple, but I'll give you statistics. According to World Food Program, about a third of the food produced actually goes to waste. Now picture this. In Kenya, we keep talking about people being starved or starvation.
Yes.
You've heard about starvation in northeastern province and several parts of this country. Now, a third goes to waste. This is equivalent to about about 3 billion tons of food going to waste. That portion of food that is going to waste is enough to feed about 2 billion people. Yeah? Yes. Now I'm giving the statistics. If you look at statistics, the number of people who are malnourished globally, it's about 860 million. So we are wasting 2 billion tons of food, but we are crying that we have about 630 billion people who are starving. So that shows you how serious this issue of food waste is, and what are the contributing factors to this food waste. Number one is the fact that locally, most of our farmers, they do what we call monoculture, something. They concentrate on one crop.
One crop.
So assuming in a village, we all are doing maize crop, for example. So it gets to a point where all of us, we have so many sacks of maize. There's no market.
Surplus.
There's a lot of surplus. We don't know where to take them. And then we don't have proper storage facility. This food gets wasted because you can't probably use it. Yeah?
Okay.
And if you use it, people don't use it well. Yeah? And there are so many other examples. So sustainable agricultural practices would really help us mitigate the issue of food waste. And there's also another issue of biodiversity in terms of destroying the ecosystem or other habitats for different species of animals. You've heard about the destruction of mangrove forests at the coast. People cut just trees, and you've heard about the turtles. When they come back to the seashores to just hatch their eggs, and then they go back.
Yes.
So once you destroy their habitat,
Yes.
it means that you're wiping out a whole species of the turtles. And that's just one example.
Yes.
We have other examples. You've heard of the white rhino, for example. Or was it a white elephant? Which we were counting that it's only one left, one left for so many, for 10 years. Then all of a sudden, it died.
It's gone.
So
And now
most
no
of our
more.
children or our grandchildren will never see that white rhino ever.
I'm not
He
sure.
disappeared.
I'm not sure. You saw the white elephant.
I
don't
never
know.
saw it myself, to be honest.
Did you
But
see it?
I didn't see it. Maybe I saw it on TV. But I had stories about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and when it died, I don't know, it was taken to another country. I don't know. Yeah, there were some stories about it.
Okay.
But that shows you that we might never see that white elephant ever again in our lives. Yeah, so that tells you that we really need to take care of our environment. Yes, and because we only have one Earth.
You only have one Earth, and I want to come back to Felix now. You are very, critically speaking on the role of people at their personal level, something we hardly talk about. Everyone point fingers at the government, the UNEP, this authority, this organization. Please bring us back again on just the line you were at in what the common Wanjiku or Mwananchi ought to do in matters conservation of the environment.
It's pretty easy, pretty easy. He did point out on just a few, like taking a walk. Does help a lot. Because you see, eventually what you're trying to do is to reduce CO2 in the air. That's what you're trying to do. It's called decarbonization. It was kind of featured so much in the COP26 meeting. And taking a walk, cycling is good for your health. It's also good for the environment. Basically, also moving to things like electric cars, electric motorcycles. Because what you're trying to do is to kind of focus on renewable energy, which is a good economy. Good economy in terms of there's a market for it. It's good for the environment. Why don't we focus on that? Because, as I said, we are trying to survive. We are trying to make sure humanity continues existing.
Yes.
I never saw the white elephant. I did never, as far as dinosaurs are concerned, that's another story altogether. I don't know if it's true, it's mythical, but the point is, extinction is possible.
It is.
At the moment, there's a certain kind of antelope they're trying to bring back into a forest at Abadeas, Mount Kenya region, because it's come to almost non-existing. The few that were there, they were taken outside the country, and the ones that were taken out of the country, they were able to live because they were being taken care of. But as the hunting happening, the conflict between humans, people want to farm, animals want to exist. So how do you maintain the balance?
There's a human-wildlife conflict.
Exactly.
Yes.
So and especially with the elephants, because right now the elephants is a focus because they are also kind of, the numbers are coming down. Quite a lot has been hunted down, for economic purposes. And it's all about just, you know, human conflict, because when they come, they destroy your land, your farm that you've been working on. The next thing you're thinking about is getting rid of it, because you are trying to create, you know, a kind of farm, but that's also their food.
Yes.
Their system, their mechanism. There's a place in Magadi whereby it's considered to be, that's where they usually have their own maternity. This is somewhere in Magadi. I can't remember the exact place. There's a Kenya Wildlife Service office over there. So what happens is the elephants, still in their own psychology, think of this as their maternity. It's a hospital for them. So they always migrate to come deliver there. Now, the challenge is there's a community that's also trying to farm over there. So who's supposed to give out of the way? That becomes tricky altogether. So there's a balance that needs to be maintained. The government is on top of it. But as far as we as humans, we need to understand that they do have a purpose for us.
Okay.
In terms, they do add value to our system. There's a reason as to why they were created initially.
I agree.
There are some birds that you don't see their value, but they do bring a lot of value to nature in terms of attracting maybe certain kind of a pollination aspect. In fact, right now, bees are being endangered. Because the more we cut trees, the more we cut flowers, the more they can't produce. Guess what happens? Also, our own food system is affected. So eventually, we need to realize that we do need animals for our food system to continue. So human beings, so what can we do? He pointed something about renewable energy.
Absolutely.
One of the sponsors for our event is called Coco Network. They'll be there. Tonight we have a cocktail art exhibition. And there's also going to be a panel talk, and one of the speakers is from Coco Network. And Coco Network, their focus is on use of bioethanol to cook. And they have a whole system, basically, that you know, like the way you have a vending machine for milk, you have a vending machine for fuel.
Trust me, I have actually seen
Coco Network.
I don't know if anyone else hasn't really seen it.
Yes.
It's like, you can use it, it's a cooking gas?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And it uses bioethanol, which is good for the environment and good for your health.
All right.
Because, you know, we're also trying to avoid use of charcoal as much as possible, deforestation. And so that's another aspect in terms of using bioethanol. So there are various things now. I mentioned about planting trees. It's important for that to take place.
All right.
As I said, human beings, whatever oxygen is because of a tree that was planted 40 to 60 years ago. So what about posterity? What about the future generation? Will they find some oxygen?
And what you are saying about the future generation, I want to hear from George again. You've mentioned a lot that we can do. You clearly, you know, outlined the picture of what has been damaged. And you've said a lot of times, repeatedly, he said the government is on top of it, the government is on top of it. But I know that there are policies that are in place. Most of the times we've had concerns of these policies are hardly implemented. George, what do you have to say about policies that actually govern the environment? Are they there? And if we do have them, why are they not really properly implemented? Where do we go wrong? What can we do?
I think the policies, the policies are there. And there's a lot of opportunities in terms of if you ever wanted to venture into this space of environment. You have, number one, the law is there, because that's where everything starts. So the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, you have a right to clean and safe environment, to start with. Number two, we have various acts that are meant to protect the environment. For example, we have Energy Act. Yeah. We have Energy Act, it should be 2019 or something. So the law is there. Now, the implementing agencies are also there.
The environment policy is there?
We already have environment policy. There's a policy for environment. There's a ministry of environment.
True.
In terms of implementing authorities, we already have NEMA. NEMA is there. We have a fully fledged court dealing specifically with matters environment.
Great.
Yeah, and I think we also have a tribunal for environment. Now, you asked whether the agencies are implementing what they're supposed to do. And my answer would be yes and no.
All right.
Yes, because I've been following keenly the speech by our beloved President, Uhuru Kenyatta, during many functions dealing with the environment. And during his tenure, the President has really been passionate about environment, about the circular economy. We're talking about producing, consuming, right, to disposal of wastes. He's also been very keen on regeneration of our lost forests and also afforestation. So we planted about 1 billion trees. There was a campaign for that, and I'm glad that was achieved. And that just shows you what we are seeing even with wildlife. There's a lot of effort towards conserving our wildlife ecosystem. Parks are being fenced. You've seen a movement of animals to probably safer parks.
Okay.
And this shows you that that something is being done. However, we cannot miss one or two areas that we feel still need to be looked into. A case in point is we were involved in a river cleanup exercise, Nairobi River cleanup exercise, and we witnessed a few issues. Number one, there's a lot of land grabbing that has happened along the rivers. People are not really keen to leave what we call the riparian land, just to give the rivers a breathing space.
Okay.
So people erect walls, they're encroaching into the river.
All right.
So this makes even river cleanup very, 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 very difficult. Even if you are to clean the river, because we wanted to start cleaning upstream.
Yes.
Upstream.
Yes.
If you know Nairobi River very well, the origin from Ondiri Swamp in Kikuyu. So from Kikuyu now, it now comes to the distributaries along the estates. And funny thing is that when this river, when it's coming from Ondiri Swamp, it's very clean.
Oh, is it?
It's very
What happens
clean.
in between?
Now, there's a lot of affluent wastes from the industries around in Nairobi, because they are competing to serve us with food.
Okay.
But at the same time, they end up damaging the river ecosystem.
All right.
There's also a lot of waste dumping in the river in terms of plastic wastes. Especially from the slum areas.
Okay.
We have seen areas where there's really no proper waste disposal, waste management.
Yes.
We have landlords who don't believe that you can actually pay a credible company to come and collect wastes.
Quite a concern.
Yeah, we have seen estates where people just throw garbage.
And I really want to, I'm sorry if I could cut you short there. That is why you were talking about personal responsibility. If you are right now watching from, I don't know what your estate is called, or, you know, have you had this conversation with your landlord or landlady for that matter? Are you comfortable, therefore, in your environment is the question. And I'm coming back to you, Mr. George. Let me hear from Felix. Yes, yes. Now it's a campaign period, vividly. Yes, it is. And then Mr. George will come back to talk about the Rotary Club and the EcoFest because of time. Yes, but it's very important to bring in, you know, the question of goodwill and political goodwill for that matter. For sure. The manifestos are out here. Yes. Campaigns are out here, big names. You know, we're talking about big, very familiar names. But which and how many manifestos are out here speaking about environment? Yes. And what then do you expect or demand of these political leaders? Those to be elected or those aspiring?
Of interest is to understand that there's an economy around taking care of the environment itself. You're looking at the population of Kenya, 75% is youth. And you're looking at, we have at least 1 million that get into the job market every single year. And we are looking that unemployment rate is at 6.6%.
Quite high.
So which means we need to have an economy that's sustaining the workforce. And so basically when it comes to now the political arena, that should be the goal, that should be the target, that should be the focus. Even whoever is going to come pretty much is going to win wherever,
Okay.
whatever level, because every level does matter. An MCA does have a big voice in terms of influencing what happens in the community. An MP does have a big voice. A senator does, basically all the way to the top. So my point is, at every level, it's important to ask them, question them. What do you have in place for us to take care of environment? What are you planning to do? This is the population that we have in terms of the youth. So my question is there an economy that will enable the environment in such a way, sustain the environment, and also put money in the pockets of the youth? Because the youth just want to have money in their pockets. So looking at other countries that are doing well in renewable energy, there's a whole economy around it. Tonight, one of the speakers is from PETCO, and PETCO, basically they're emphasizing on separation of waste. And then also we have Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Basically, they're also enabling the same in such a way that there's an economy they've built around that in such a way that whatever waste is collected, they're holding the companies responsible towards injecting money into that. And that helps a lot with what COP26 was focusing on, that we need to increase the finance that enables climate action activities.
All right.
So an economy around it should be the focus of what they're talking about. So basically, as far as use of solar, we've seen companies working on that in terms of instead of using the main grid, they're putting solar into their systems. Housing aspect, also we are seeing that they're becoming more sensitized towards implementation of the same. So there's a whole industry around that can be created to enable the youth to have jobs.
Okay.
So climate action activities do create jobs. So in terms of policy manifestos, it's good for the common mwananchi to question their leaders. Don't just cast your vote. Hold them responsible. Every single year, each ward has a budget. We are looking at least 20 million plus. Go ask your MC, what have you done with the 20 million to enable employment for our youth? So, you know, there was a time that His Excellency was pointing out that you're the person who's voting for the people who are leading you. Are you holding them also accountable as much as you're voting for them? So when it comes to manifestos and environmental matters, the point is we ourselves want a good environment. We want our kids to have a better environment.
All right.
But my question is, what are we doing towards it? If the population that is voting is casting a vote to somebody who's not enabling that, then we are the problem. As I initially said, man is his own worst enemy. So it's up to us to take the be the captain of your own ship. Take responsibility. That comes to asking the questions to the people who are vying for certain. So the point comes down is how educated are the people who are going to lead us?
All right.
It's important to understand that. Intelligence. Because the sad affair is that you find that quite a percentage, when they get into the office, they don't know what to do.
Okay.
So we have wasted years. We have wasted economies.
All right.
So my point is, are those people ready to actually actualize what they're talking about? Do they have a track record? So when it comes to environmental matters, how much are we as citizens holding them accountable? It's not up, you see, a country is all about the people. Without the people, there's no country. Now the question is, are the people conscious enough, caring enough to hold those people accountable?
Nice question. Very good question. And the people are watching right now. Please talk to us in the comment section. Is this a challenge to you and yours? And I want to hear more about the Rotary Club because you are here in that capacity. Very, very important. Most of the people who now want to have this information even more and be part of the club. So you can give us a bit of a history of the Rotary Club and then a lot more on the Ecofist and how to be part of the Rotary Club. Either of you.
Rotary Club is basically a group of people, of friends who come together to do good in our society. That's a brief description of us.
Oh, okay.
We come and we pool our resources together and we just have projects, we fund projects in the community. We have different areas of focus, of course, and because, for the interest of time, I will highlight an area like health.
Amazing.
Where we've been sponsoring polio vaccination. That's a Rotary project, and this has helped reduce polio cases. I think it's been a while. you heard of polio cases in Kenya. In fact, we are at almost zero cases in Kenya, if not Africa. And that is through Rotary, through the efforts of Rotarians worldwide. Now here, we are here on behalf of Rotary Club of Lavington Eco. This is the first eco-based club.
Oh, great.
Of course, the areas of focus are 7, and one of them is the environment. So our club really focuses on environment, environment conservation, and we've done a lot in that area. So we planted close to, this year we've done about almost 3,000 trees.
Yes,
just as a club. Just as a club.
Just a club
That's
itself.
a few months in. Because you're talking about 2022.
Yeah, within 1 year.
3,000.
Exactly. 3,000. We've partnered with schools because we really want to educate this young generation to take charge of this one earth, the only one earth that we have.
Only one earth.
We are teaching them how to take care of the environment, how to plant trees, and also how to ensure that their future, they take charge of their future.
Yes.
We've also done cleanup, Nairobi River, I mentioned that, which is very, very critical. You've seen what the government did in Twake Dam, in Ukambani. Very beautiful idea, very big dam. But all of a sudden, the water can't be used. Why? Because all that water comes from Nairobi.
All right, and the
And
pollution.
if I tell you the water comes from Nairobi, you know what I mean.
Yes, absolutely.
So you bring a whole project to a village, and then they realize they can't use the water because it's contaminated. But the same industries in Nairobi, the effluent that we are dumping in the river, everything, all the pollution goes to the Twake Dam in Ukambani. I really feel for the people.
I do as well. And I'm sorry if I have to interject, but I really appreciate your observations. And I want to hear if you'd add anything to this. First, what the Rotary Club is doing. I saw you really agree to a lot of them in respect of time.
Exactly.
Yes.
Rotary Club, Lavington Eco, as you mentioned, is the first in Africa, basically environmental focused. There are so many that do, there are many pillars when it comes to the Rotary. It was started in the year 1910. This, as a result of it, started with the professionals coming together, asking themselves, the skills we have, the knowledge we have, what can we do with that to take care of our own environment for sustainability? So it all boils down to that.
Okay.
So we focus so much on environmental matters, and that's why on World Environmental Day, we take the responsibility upon ourselves to be able to sensitize as many people as possible on the need to take care of their own environment.
Okay.
So we have the EcoFest this coming weekend, starting tonight. We do have at Radisson Blue, we have a panel talk.
Amazing.
We have great speakers. We have NEMA represented. We have PETCO represented, Coco Network. We have SAY. We have all the organizations pretty much, and NMS themselves too, who are taking care of the environment. They'll be there to talk about the need for that to take place because they themselves as an entity, they are.
Okay.
But it needs a collective effort. So the common Wananchi needs to be able to take care of their own environment. You know, wastage of food, that needs to be taken care of.
All right.
Even when it comes to lights, turn off the lights if you're not using. Because conservation, it does matter a lot. So on Saturday and Sunday, we do have activities like art in the park, there's science in the park, there's movie in the park, there's live music.
There's movies?
There's movie in the park.
And there is live music?
And there's live music.
How do I, and where do I get the ticket?
Now,
is it free?
No, we do have some charges to them. Now, the charges are basically just go to their website, that is Rotary Lavington Eco.org. And you'll be able to purchase your ticket. We do still have the early bird going on for the weekend. Bring your kids. Last time the kids had a good time. We have ghetto classics playing the music, and they're really good. They're really good. We have the LAC movement. Basically, the LAC movement, they kind of emphasize on ecotherapy for mental health. You know, last month was mental health.
Awareness month, true.
It was. So taking a walk in the park is good for everybody.
Therapeutic.
It is therapeutic. We're going to have exercise in the park also. There's a lady who does yoga also. She's going to be there, Suzanne. So there are going to be a lot of activities that is on the family setting. That is that is Saturday from 10 to 6 p.m. it's going to be. And also Sunday from 10 to 6 p.m. it's going to be.
Great.
So a lot of activities. Come, just be ready to eat. Be ready to enjoy.
Absolutely.
Be ready to have a good time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Be ready to eat. I like that shot.
Yes.
Be ready to eat. So guys, there's a plot for your weekend, and not just for yourself, but your entire family. George Aboro, I'm going to take your closing remarks or parting shot for this conversation, discussion, or environment, discussion, just in a minute, and then his, and then parting shots from Felix as well. But what I want to say is, guys, you need to start checking out the website, get your tickets, let your family know. If someone ought to travel for this one, they need to start, booking now. But of course, George, just your parting shot in a minute.
I want to take this opportunity to talk first to the youth of this country. This is our country.
I'm sorry, you'll keep it brief.
We need to conserve our environment.
Yes.
If you need to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Those are the three mantras for a blue economy. And secondly, is just to invite you to join us for the EcoFest happening at the Arboretum tomorrow and Sunday. And today we have a cocktail at Radisson Blue Hotel. Yeah, so sign up, guys, and karibuni sana.
Nice. You say 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yes.
And that is the mission. You want to give something for a parting shot briefly for just 1 minute?
Yes, this is One Earth. That's the theme. Point is, COVID-19 emphasized how interconnected we are with nature. We cannot run away from it. People may say that you're hugging the trees too much, but you need the trees to live. So, tafadhali, let's take care of our environment, avoid wastage. The farmers, make sure that you know what fertilizer to use. The much you use the wrong fertilizer, because the sad affair is 2% of our farmers use it correctly, the rest don't. That pollutes the environment.
Okay.
So let's take care of our environment. Let's plant trees, avoid wastage, turn off the lights, use renewable energy as much as you can.
Yes.
And come so at least we can inform you more on how you can better your health by taking care of the environment. So welcome to the EcoFest.
Thank you. Is that my invitation or is it theirs?
That's yours and also everybody else. The entire world. If you can fly in, please do so.
Oh, we're actually flying in. All the angels, grab your wings. And if you don't, get a parachute. Either way, thank you guys. And thank you very much for representing Rotary Club. I think you're doing an amazing job. And for the EcoFest, guys, you guys have a plot. One thing that I want to appreciate is it's no longer boring to talk about environment. You can do it in art, film, dance, and all the other types of ways. I like how you have just inculcated this into this current generation. I take this break from the big conversation, but we have an extra hour for fun, nothing but good music. DJ One will come back shortly. Talk to us at Lookup TV. Use the hashtag The Morning Drift. Ni Friday.
Yippee! Kamata floating at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki